Welcome to the Luxury Listing Specialist Podcast with Michael LaFido, where top luxury agents reveal their best practices, plus interviews with real estate industry influencers, thought leaders, and luxury marketing experts. You'll come away from each episode with new strategies and tactics to dominate high-end homes in any market. And now for the latest episode of Luxury Listing Specialist. Here's your host, luxury real estate expert, coach, and trainer, Michael LaFido.
Welcome back to another episode of the Luxury Listing Specialist podcast, brought to you by the Lux Group. You're in the right place if you're looking to increase your average sale price, if you're looking to work smarter, not harder, if you're looking for new ways to bring value to your buyer clients and your seller clients, then you're listening to the right podcast. Again, we've released tons of these episodes. I believe we're on 168 or 170. And so when we're releasing these podcasts and we're trying to bring on guests, we're always trying to fill voids, bring in guests maybe on a topic that we haven't talked about in the past. And today's guest definitely fills one of those voids. But before I introduce Peter, just a reminder, if you have any questions for me, shoot me an email, michael@marketingluxurygroup.com, michael@marketingluxurygroup.com. Again, we've launched a brand new series every Friday. We call it Luxury Fridays. It's on Clubhouse. So if you're not familiar with Clubhouse, I'm an Android user. You don't have to be an iPhone user anymore, but check it out. You can go to joinluxgroup.com, joinluxgroup.com. And if you click on the first link there, you'll find out information about the next upcoming Clubhouse. Every Fridays at 1 Central, 2 Eastern on Clubhouse, 2 Eastern, 1 o'clock Central, Clubhouse. Again, go to joinluxgroup.com. And again, if you're getting value from this episode or previous podcast, please leave us a like, leave us a review. Go to iTunes, Stitcher. If you have our book, Luxury Listing Specialist, leave us a review on on Amazon, like everything else is on Amazon. We'd greatly appreciate it. All right, today's guest is been a licensed real estate agent for over 30 years, and he's been at similar companies that I've been at in the past. And before I bring Peter on, again, this is a topic that's going to really, I think, help you as an agent if you have listings and you're trying to figure out how to build relationships with international brokers, or heck, some of the buyers, maybe you know your migration patterns and people outside of the U.S., where they're buying, and if they're buying in your area, how do you build relationships with potential buyers to position yourself as an agent that's very familiar with and comfortable working internationally, even if you're physically not going internationally a ton. And that's what we have today's guest on. Peter, thank you for joining me today.
Oh, you're welcome.
And Peter, pronounce your last name for everybody.
Kempf.
Kempf, and that's spelled K-E-M-P-H. Peter Kempf.
P-F.
P-F, excuse me, K-E-M-P-F. And Peter, you're out of Santa Fe, New Mexico, correct?
Correct.
And you were a licensed agent. We talked a little bit beforehand, since 1980.
Right.
And you were you had roles with Sotheby's in the mid 80s, as well as Christie's. For those that are listening that aren't familiar with both Christie's and Sotheby's, both have auction houses, but both have luxury real estate arms to their companies. To tell everybody a little bit about your role there, which will be a great prelude into talking about international real estate today, Peter.
Well, in the mid 80s, worked with a firm that wound up being the first affiliate in Santa Fe for Sotheby's International Realty. They had a client that was coming over from the UK, and they wanted to get something in Santa Fe, and Sotheby's didn't have any representation. So we represented the buyers and sold them a property, started building up a relationship with Sotheby's. And at the time, they really only had an office in New York and Palm Beach, and I think one in Beverly Hills. But they went on a big expansion plan in the mid to late 80s, and they opened up several, I think it was 7 regional offices, one of which was in Chicago. And being from Chicago, knowing the area well, knowing Sotheby's, they'd asked me if I'd move to Chicago and represent the 11th state Midwest region, which I did for several years. Made a lot of contacts with high net worth individuals, started getting involved with international transactions. Subsequent to that, in 96, Christie's decided they were going to get into real estate and acquired a company called Great Estates. And I was hired by them to be director of international real estate. And as such, I had clients all over the world, and it built up a pretty good following, learned a lot about buying and selling real estate in various countries. It's different everywhere. United States is really the only country that has it organized with NAR and then local MLS systems and things. It's uncanny how advanced the system is in the United States, as opposed to how unadvanced and different it is in so many different countries. Some places you need a license, some places you don't. I had developed a specialty in Italy because I had a major client there. And in 2001, I went off on my own and asked my clients, you're welcome to stay with Christie's or whatever. And they said, no, we've been with you for a long time. We'll stay with you. I had a major client in Florence, so I moved over there to oversee the renovation, the sales and marketing of a renovated former Medici palace that was built in the late 1400s. So a building where the first opera was ever performed in the late 1500s. It was a former home of one of the Medici families, Pope Leo XI, and he lived there for a while. It's a very famous, right in the heart of Florence. If anybody has been there, it's the Golden Crossroads. And so in the process, I had clients throughout Italy, but Tuscany is just a huge popular place for people to get a second or third home. They see Under the Tuscan Sun or read the book Under the Tuscan Sun and decide, oh my goodness, we've got to, let's get a place in Italy. But then the dream kind of starts fluttering because, well, how in the world do we go about doing something like that? We don't even speak Italian, but my job became to keep the dream alive and make it a seamless transaction. And, pretty much everybody they dealt with was somebody that could speak English. The principal buyers were from the US, the UK, Germany, Netherlands, Norway. It was a huge market. And so I used to promote.
So real quick, let me stop you right there. So Peter has been licensed since 1980, was with both Sotheby's in the mid 80s and then Christie's, and now he's fast forwarding talking about his experience in Italy. But before we go deeper on this, you had mentioned a few things earlier that I just want to circle back to, and that was basically real estate in many countries. It's the wild, wild west. You don't need your real estate license. There isn't the organization that you see in the United States. So let's talk a little bit deeper on that before we fast forward to Italy again, because again, we have some people on here that are looking to develop relationships internationally with other real estate agents. Maybe they represent sellers and their sellers are, hey, what are you doing to market my home outside of the United States? So that's one thing I want to talk about. How do you build? Let's start there. How did you build relationships? Of course, in Italy is one thing because you physically went there, but how did you build relationships in some of these countries with other real estate brokers when there's no centralized, especially then, internet, and they don't have database management and social media back then? How did you do it back then?
Well, Europe is extremely different because it's not a mobile society. In the US, what is it? Everybody moves every 7 years, that kind of thing. Whereas in a place like, take example, Italy or even France, it's not uncommon for somebody, they buy their home, and then that's it. They don't move again. In fact, I had one client whose family lived 37 generations going back to the 1400s. But there are people that do come and go and move and need to sell. And by exposing, if somebody comes to me and said, I understand you've got my market wasn't selling to Italians. My market was selling to others, the Brits, US, who wanted to buy something in France or Italy. And so I would have to reach that audience, either digitally, online, or back in the day, in the mid 2000s, the print media was still big. The Financial Times of London, the Friday Home section, is probably the most effective publication I've ever worked with, whether it's on the internet or in their printed publication, which is still very popular. It reaches a very broad international audience, even though it's a British publication out of London. I had a better reach in the United States and more success than I did with, say, the New York Times or somebody like that, which I also used because a lot of people that subscribe to the New York Times are very international in scope, and so they're always looking. And the global market now is so expanded. It's amazing the number of people that the buyers for America aren't just for New York and LA. They're for all over the place, based on their business dealings or whatever the case may be. So there's a good chance if you're in a semi-major market that you probably have a sizable international audience. And so you want to be able to expose, like if you have a listing in Charleston, let's say, you want to expose that to foreign audiences using the Financial Times or the New York Times, et cetera, Wall Street Journal even. And then you are able to then, when you're doing a listing presentation, show samples of how you reach out to this international audience. And I would also say that it's a good idea to join one of the many international associations that are out there, whether it's Who's Who in Luxury Real Estate, or if you're a member of Sotheby's or Christie's or any of the others. Network with those people. And, what I used to do years ago when I was even in Santa Fe, this was in the late 90s, we had a full page ad, and always the center property would be an international property. And people dig that, that I'd make it as outrageous as I could, 25 million, 100 million, and people would gravitate that. Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous is popular. Maybe they're not going to buy something like that. It's just but people are attracted to that. Mm-hmm. And you build up a reputation in your market as someone who's plugged in. So reach out if you're a part of an organization to brokers that are in Paris or London, whether it's Savills or Knight Frank. I have a great relationship with Knight Frank that I've developed, over the last 25 or so years. And, they have people looking to buy in the U.S., but they also have properties all over the place. So, build up a relationship, expose one of their properties in France or in the countries, or in London or Paris, Argentina. I have clients now in Argentina, Costa Rica. And it's just by get yourself out there and go to conferences where some of these other people are present, build up your network, get involved in social media, become friends with people, brokers in other countries. And, you can post things on Facebook, and you start, your friends will start associating you with, oh, wow, they seem to do a lot of business in France or Costa Rica, whatever the case may be. Yeah. I have a couple of really good friends down in Costa Rica who I love to see at conferences. And, it's occasionally we do business back and forth. It's a popular area for people from the U.S., but from other countries as well.
Hi, it's Michael LaFido here with a quick break from the podcast.
If you are committed to increasing your average sale price and you want to work smarter, not harder, then you want to check out luxurylistingspecials.com, where you'll find out more information about the Lux designation along with some additional resources. Again, I'll repeat, check out luxurylistingspecials.com. And now let's get back to the show.
Some really good nuggets there, Peter. So just to kind of recap some of the things Peter talked about is, when you want to grow your presence internationally and you want to get in front of more agents internationally, as well as buyers internationally, you got to put yourself out there. You got to go to some of these conferences where these global agents are attending, right? So I was just at a big conference in Las Vegas, and agents from international were there. So build relationships. I was talking to a guy from India. And so I'm a member of Who's Who in Luxury Real Estate, and Peter, you are as well. And we're both members of Realm. And so again, building relationship with other top agents, top luxury agents is key. You talked about, you had a print publication where you posted the international property of the month or international property of the week. And it was a significant price point to get people's attention, kind of like you mentioned, the lifestyle of the rich and the famous. I mean, I tell people all the time, we're basically in a dating app industry. People are swiping left and swiping right on properties that we represent. And in the Tinder world, you want more swipe rights, Peter. That was before your time and my time. But that's what I've been told. But the point is, you want people, you want to grab people's attention online and print. And so those are some really good nuggets that you shared with us. From a building relationship standpoint, anything else to add?
Well, lately I have a partner, Joan DiGiovanna. She's on Realm calls all the time as well. And she has just really taken to the international marketplace. It's incredible. Being of Italian descent from her ancestors and things, she gravitates to Italy. But she's got listings in Colombia, Italy, and several other places as well. And
she's based where?
Nice. Huh?
And where is she based out of?
Santa Fe.
Oh, okay. So here's a U.S.-based agent that you deal with, and she's dealing with some international real estate as well.
Oh, a ton of it. And the more she learns, the better conversations she can have, because she can say, well, I represent the Palazzo in Florence, Palazzo Tornabuoni, and I've got this property in Colombia. So people like her expertise. And so she can talk on a variety of subjects in a variety of countries, and can back it up. Not only can talk the talk, but she can walk the walk. And so it's nice if you have a partner that's also involved internationally, like Joan is. It's just it spreads your wings, casts your net a lot further. She has different eyes. When we do a listing presentation to an Italian family or somebody from Argentina, whatever the case may be, she has a different set of eyes than I do. So she contributes with a whole different perspective. And so sellers really enjoy that. And buyers do as well, because you're often dealing with husband and wife, and they might have a different perspective as to what they want to achieve. And we have the ability to look at it with the four eyes, two of which.
So is she then officially within your brokerage?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So in this case, I want to spin off and talk about two things to my audience right now. Number one, I've had on my show in the past, one example is a guy named Richard Silver up in Toronto, and Rich talked about building a team based on, in his case, Toronto's a melting pot from an ethnic standpoint, a lot of different languages. So when he built his team, he specifically was trying to build his team based on the demographics of people that are buying and selling in Toronto. Now, Peter here is sharing an example of how you bring on a team member that perhaps fills a void or has a specific niche or specialty within your team, maybe outside of your region or outside of, in this case, the United States. Now, for those of you that maybe don't have that opportunity right now to fill that void, the other aspect, of course, is joining a group, joining an organization that has specific experts and specialists within there that you can lean on and you can leverage until you have that same experience. So those are the types of things, guys, that we cover on our Friday Luxury Fridays. Again, go to joinluxgroup.com for more information on our Friday luxury events that we're doing on Clubhouse. Again, join Lux, Luxe, joinluxgroup.com, join Lux Group, and you can find more information there. So really some great nuggets there, Peter. Thanks for sharing with me there. I do want to fast forward a little bit to Italy here. You started talking about, in the early 2000s, when you were marketing this property. I do want to kind of end up on this point. If somebody has a relationship with a developer, a family, somebody that's got this international property, although you're licensed in Mexico, or somebody's licensed in Illinois or New York, or fill in the blank, how could they go about co-marketing or co-listing, if you will, a property outside of the United States?
Well, it's good to link up with somebody who, if it's required, that is licensed in a particular country. I do a lot of work over the years and have with Todd and Scott Cutter down to Costa Rica real estate. I'm not going to get on a plane and show properties down there, but if somebody comes to me and, gee, they're really interested in Costa Rica, I'll plug them into Scott and Todd Cutter, and they understand. And I feel comfortable because I know they're going to be handled with kid gloves and be handled professionally. If it's the UK, I often use Knight Frank. Knight Frank has offices all over the world, actually. So, and I'm the president of their international properties, et cetera, is a long time friend of mine. So you just develop these relationships, and oftentimes at international conferences, which are nice. Like, for example, Who's Who has a big, 3 conferences a year. 2 of which are, they'll have 100, 250 people. Their European conference is usually in the winter, and it'll be more intimate, maybe 50 or 60 people. So you have an opportunity over 2.5 days to really build a relationship with people wherever they're coming from. So I encourage people to do that. You can just, if you have somebody that's interested in Munich, Germany, you can go online and find, if you're not a member of a network, if you are a member of a network, you can plug into somebody there easily. You'll have instant credibility because you're both part of this network. So you're going to turn something over to somebody who you feel confident is going to handle your client really well, and vice versa. So networking, whether it's social media, in person at conferences, or just picking up the phone and saying, hey, I'd like to introduce myself. I do a lot of business in wherever, and occasionally I get people from your area,
That's a great point. Picking up the phone, I have by my desk, for those of you that are listening, you can't see this, but I have by my desk one of these. That was easy buttons. And Peter, everybody's looking for the easy button, whether it be weight loss, whether it be get rich. When I say everybody, I take that back. There's a lot of people through infomercials, through the internet, through greed, that are looking for get rich, lose weight fast schemes. Is it fair to say when you're dealing with the international, it's a long play, right? It's the marathon. It's not the sprint. It takes time. There's not one exact thing. There's not one exact strategy that helped propel you to build these relationships internationally, but it was a kind of a combination of things. Is that fair to say, Peter?
Yeah, exactly. It's more of a marathon, but it builds. And, then you can have a conversation with somebody, who's like in Paris, and then they have a client for somebody in New York. Oh, well, I know this person in New York. Yeah, oh yeah, I know that person too. Great guy, great woman, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So the longer you're in it, the more you become more of a big fish in a small pond,
Awesome.
because you just don't have, like in Italy, you maybe have a half a dozen, companies that are really, you want to be friends with. UK, you've got, Savills, you've got Knight Frank, and you have a couple of others. And so it's easy to build relationships. It's not, and they're broad. They're not just in London. They're usually all over the UK, Scotland, Ireland, wherever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
So you spread your wings by connecting with those who are real international companies. A lot more than most brokers are here. But you'd be amazed at the number of foreign people that are buying in St. Louis or Cincinnati, whatever the case may be. So, so just, don't think because you're not in LA or New York or Chicago that, there's no international market. I guarantee you there is. Not only have people coming in, but more so, who doesn't want to get a place in Tuscany or in Provence? They read A Year in Provence and they go, oh my God, let's go to Provence. That kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you have people, no matter, Kansas City, whatever, wherever you are, who will vacation in those places and have the same dream. Just because it's not, some known international market, there'll be a lot of people in those markets that would love to buy a place in France or Italy, but they don't know how to go about it. They don't even know. They think, oh, I got to have millions. Not true. You can find a really cool pied-à-terre in Paris for $500,000. The multi-million-dollar estates are there, but you can go into other parts of Italy, for $300,000-$400,000 and find yourself a sweet place.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got multiple price ranges and have all the charm that those buyers are looking for. They got the sidewalk cafe where they can go down. They've got the patisserie where they go down and get their meats. They've got the baker. They go there for the experience.
Right.
Of, oh my God, what a getaway,
Mm-hmm.
And they build friends, with Giuseppe or Fernando or whatever the case may be. And they go back and it's not a vacation. They're going to another home. And so, they're going to see hey, let's, send an email to whoever to let them know that we'll be there, the following weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So,
great points. It's a totally change in lifestyle. Sometimes that's what people are looking for, is a total getaway. If I were to say, Peter, do you have a reference, a website, a couple references for agents that want to familiarize themselves with international, whether it be real estate, whether it be building relationships, whether it be, hey, I want to find out more about getting more exposure on some of my properties on some international sites? Anything come to mind?
Well, I have my own website, kempfintl.com, and it, has information there.
So again, that's KEMPHINTL.com.
KEMPFINTL.com.
Why am I saying T? Yeah, KMPF. Thank you. KMPFINTL.com.
Right. And, I'm on, social media as well, Peter Kempf. I like to post things there, but I don't do so much posting bricks and mortars on social media. It's social. So I prefer to use it to show another side of me. If I go to a cocktail party, I don't want to walk up to somebody and start talking real estate.
Sure.
You want to talk, hey, pleased to meet you, where you're from.
Right. Yeah. No, really, really good. Some really good points today, Peter. Again, just to kind of recap, agents, if you're listening to the tail end of this, Peter has been a licensed real estate agent since 1980. He shared some great insights on best practices, if you will, how to get involved, how to build relationships with other brokers, how to position yourself as an agent, not just licensed in your state, but also that is familiar with what's happening internationally. So Peter, thank you for your time. And again, go to KempfIntl, that's KempfIntl.com for your website. What's the best either phone or email?
Email Peter at KempfIntl.com or 7.
All right, so Peter at KempfIntl.com, or shoot me a note. Reception went in and out a little bit there at the end, Peter. You guys can always shoot me a note, Michael at marketingluxurygroup.com, Michael at marketingluxurygroup.com for more information. If you have questions, you want me to get to Peter, or you want me to connect you, please do it that way. Michael at marketingluxurygroup.com. As I mentioned, we just launched a new series every Friday called Luxury Fridays. It's on Clubhouse, and we're really excited. We're growing our team. We have trainers. We just got approved here in Illinois to teach our course. So now we're approved in Illinois, Texas, Florida, and Georgia for continuing education. We're looking to grow that. So if you have some interest in being a potential instructor, teaching agents, inspiring agents, please reach out to me, Michael at Marketing Luxury Group. Again, we just launched a podcast recently where we had an agent land her first trophy listing. In 15 years in the industry, she never had listed a home above $450,000 in her career, and she listed a $5 million property. And she credits our designation, luxurylistingspecialist.com. Go to luxurylistingspecialist.com. She credits our Lux designation to help break down those barriers, give her direction, give her the motivation, the drive, the clarity, and the confidence to even go on that appointment. So again, if you're interested in taking your business to the next level, check out luxurylistingspecialist.com. I'm your host, Michael LaFido. Until next time, keep raising the bar. Again, go to joinluxgroup.com for the Clubhouse and Luxury Fridays, joinluxgroup.com. Peter, some great insight. I appreciate your angle, your style. You definitely brought something different to the audience than we've had recently. So appreciate what you're doing, and the fact that you too are always trying to get better and learn and have a different, bring a different tool in your toolbox. So thank you, Peter.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure, and I love talking international real estate.
Well, I could tell you're very passionate about it and very knowledgeable. Until next time, everybody, keep raising the bar in real estate and prove others wrong. Take care.